In a world filled with negativity, there shines a beacon of hope. Welcome to Spanning the Need, your source for uplifting stories from the Mahoning Valley. We believe in inspiring the uninspired. Join us in spreading joy one story at a time. Submit your good news today. Spanning the Need, inspiring the uninspired.
Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Spanning the Need, inspiring the uninspired. We're here tonight with Tim Saxton, the Superintendent of Boardman Local Schools, and a gentleman who is about to retire after over 35, 36 years of being in education.
That's correct.
How's that feel? I mean, you're at your, we're not even less than a month away.
How's it feel? I guess when you 36 years and when you think of retirement, a lot of people said it just means you're old. I don't feel old, not at all. And I was hoping when I got to retirement age, I'd be a lot more mature. I don't feel old or mature, so I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well,
experience. I feel experienced.
So someone that used to work in higher education for 22 years, I can say that the kids made me young.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep.
They're college kids, but they're 18 and 22 years old, and so it's like, is that kind of?
I was just saying that to somebody today that I was a high school teacher and high school assistant principal, high school coach, high school principal, and then finally went into the central office of superintendency. But the bulk of my career was high school, and working with kids 14 to 18 years old. It does keep you young. You understand the lingo, you understand what they're into, you understand technology. I know what Venmo is, so yeah, it definitely keeps you young.
Well, and we talk about that you've been in education for nearly 36 years. You've been a teacher, you talked about. You've been in a variety of different areas, and you weren't always at Boardman.
No.
And we look at, kind of share your story of kind of how you got into education and kind of really what role became you as superintendent.
Well, talking about how I got into education, the easy answer was my dad was an educator. He was a math teacher and a coach, and he was a superintendent. So everyone's just going to think I followed my dad, but that's not true. And my mom was she was an English teacher, and then she became a stay-at-home mom and raised my sister and I. And then she actually worked for the Boardman Schools as a librarian. Now we call them media center specialists. But I was always, my dad was a math teacher. I was very into technology. I probably was a little bit of a geek before the term was invented. We had computers at home. I liked to program computers, I liked to play electronics. But I also was really into athletics and working out. It was a weird combination. So we tried to do some career guidance. My dad didn't want to push his career on me. So he said, what about becoming an electrical engineer? So
a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah, I just thought that was the right groove. And I was good at football. I wasn't great, so played Division III, and we picked Grove City College because it had very good engineering, and they needed some defensive backs. So after a year of electrical engineering, I just didn't feel it. I couldn't see myself in that position when I graduated, and that's never a good sign.
No, when you don't like something.
Yeah, it just
doesn't feel right.
Yeah, the engineers are great people, but I just felt like this isn't really me. And my dad just said, hey, look, he sat me down and said, we got to figure this out. And I was actually working as a custodian, summer maintenance help as a college job, and we were waxing floors it was actually at Glenwood. And I sat down behind the teacher's desk just to check the doors, we moved it. And it was weird, it's just like it was natural. I'm like, I think I need to be a teacher, So I went back, talked to my dad, he goes, well, what about math? You're really good at math. And I said, yeah, that's it. Because you could coach. I'm like, that's it. And I'll tell you, it changed my life. I went from an average student, I was getting B's and C's, which didn't make mom and dad happy, to almost all A's. Went from the classic average grades to honor roll. And I mean, once I found what my passion was and it was aligned, it changed my life. So that's how I became an educator.
Well, it just keying on that story, you sat at a desk at a school.
Yeah.
And you just kind of had something just hit you.
Yeah, it was just right. It was natural. I could, I'm active. I wanted to be up. I wanted to be moving around. I wanted to be doing things, and I could just see myself, up and about, teaching students, coaching. It just felt right. So.
And you've not always been at Boardman.
No.
What other places have you been at?
So right out of college, I wanted to get out of the area. Interviewed some different places. I actually got a job offer at Salem, and a job offer at Bedford City Schools, which is in the southeast corner of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County there. Really the difference was the Salem job was junior high coaching and high school math, and the Bedford job was high school coaching and high school math. And Cleveland paid a little more than Salem at the time, and I was 22 years old. It was a $9,000 difference. And I had a couple friends from college that lived up there, and I'm like, I'm going. So it was a good choice. You know, how you open doors, you don't necessarily realize why you went through that door, but I met some great people there. The head football coach there was Jim Hadakovic. And up in Cleveland, the Hadakovic name is kind of like, I don't know, maybe like the Pavlansky's. All the brothers are coaches.
Yeah, the whole family.
Yeah. Jim was head coach at Bedford. Kerry was with Camp McKinley for a while, which, you know, a premier job. He was at Cleveland Heights. He went down to Columbus. And Al was the head coach at Twinsburg, Cleveland Benedictine. I think Cleveland.
Big powerhouse.
Yeah. So the big Cleveland schools, and then Ronnie, the brother, was our offensive coordinator. So just a good family and good role models. And Jim Hadakovic was just a really good role model as a coach. I learned a lot from him, from the coaching point of view, and as a person. And then on the math side, it was a great math department. It was a great school, and you know, it was different than Boardman. Boardman at the time didn't have a whole lot of diversity. There was a lot of diversity at Bedford, and it actually served 4 small cities. And so it was just, we had 4 distinct cities that fed into that school. It was just a great place to be, and great kids, and I learned a lot.
Well, and you, like you said, one door closes, another one opens, and you kind of move to different areas, and you learn a lot.
Right.
Because this area may not be the same as a Cleveland area, but may be the same as lower north, southeast Ohio.
Yeah.
Or it may not, depending on where you are.
And I see that thing was important was, you know, I had gone away to college. And it was nice for a while to get away just from this area, and you know, where someone maybe not know the name Saxton, and you kind of, I mean, just you know, my dad had a heavy influence here, and so, but it was good as a young man to live on your own, to do your own laundry, to learn how to cook, all those things that it's just good to learn. So I was there I was there 8 years. It was a good learning experience.
Well, and that's a long, distinguished career. I mean, as you know, a lot of teachers are retiring earlier than normal, and what are some of the most memorable moments that you've kind of over your 36 years, just like milestones that stand out to you? Kind of like in education and just in general, like for you. I mean, for you in general.
One thing I learned, and I strongly believe in as a teacher, that every kid can learn, and you can't give up on that. You know, and I got that from my dad. My dad taught me, don't ever give up on somebody, no matter what, because once you give up on them, it's over. There's no coming back from that. So that lesson was you know, I'm so thankful that he instilled that in me. And as a teacher, I carried that. Like every kid, now it may take a child more time to process, but every child can learn. I want to make mathematics fun, because I love mathematics, and I want that joy to transfer over. So I just, you know, sometimes there were reluctant learners, or maybe they didn't have the foundation from earlier math courses, and we had to overcome that. But I never wanted to give up on a student. I never want to see a student fail. So I always believe I will never fail a student. The only way they're going to fail is if they fail themselves. If they give up on themselves and quit doing the work and don't hand things in, there's only so much I can do. And I still believe that's true. And like I said, I've never met a student that caused me not to believe that. There were other factors that may keep them from learning, but every child can learn. Absolutely. I also believe the strength of education, we are a people business. And I don't care what fancy books you have or fancy facilities or buildings. It's still a people business, and always will. And I think we really learned that during COVID. We tried to use some computers and stuff. Computers are only a tool; they're not the end all. It's still people, and always invest in people. Find the best people. Give me a person with passion and good core values, and you can put them in most positions. They'll learn the position. That to me is the core of your team. You'll be successful if you find those people.
Well, and we talk about that COVID really put a damper on a lot of schools across the country just because of what happened at home, working from home, Chromebooks, you name it, and then whatever else was going on. And we look at that as just like a roadblock or a bump in the road over that career, but a very big one.
Right.
What, just in education, you've been around a long time. What are some of the, like, how's the landscape changed in education kind of since you began your career?
Oh, let's build off what you said. COVID taught us a lot. Like I said, none of us want to go through COVID, but I think it helped transform a lot of industries, and education is one of them. The one thing, if we were headed towards a more computer-based focus, and I think we learned that doesn't work, that we are social beings. We have to have social interaction. And even though we had to close some buildings down to try to slow the spread of COVID, that made sense. Well, one of the lessons we've learned is that impacted kids. Both physically, educationally, and mentally. They can't be in isolation. They need to be around other people. And I think that is huge. And so we're learning that and addressing that more than ever. In my last 3 to 5 years here, we've put more resources into helping kids more mentally and socially than ever. And I think that's what's changed. People can say whatever they want about kids. Kids are still brilliant, very creative. They're still very hardworking if you give them the right opportunities. They're amazing. I think a lot of people think all they want to do is play with their phones. Yeah, well, they're going to do that. But
they're going to do it no matter what you do. They'll find a way.
And if that's the biggest complaint, okay, and there's pros and cons about technology, but what they're capable of doing when you give them the right venue, give them the right guidance and the right tools is probably more powerful than anything that, even when we were young, the stuff that they're learning now, like we're teaching some of the things that, I'll use my age, I'm a little older, but maybe freshman math, they're probably learning that in 7th grade now.
Yeah, algebra. I remember I learned.
And they're getting it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like pre-algebra, and algebra was like freshman, sophomore year. Now they're learning it in like the 5th, 6th grade, and it's like I have a 2.5-year-old, so only knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, your 2.5-year-old AP Calc speaks 5 languages.
Yeah, I know.
No, but it's that's
true.
amazing, and to me, that's to just show you that kids' minds are still so creative, and they can absorb a lot of information. They learn differently, and I think one thing technology has. Our wait times are a lot shorter. Mm-hmm. Everybody, it doesn't matter, kids.
More patience than anything.
Yeah, but we just got to move quicker. And you have things, these long time frames have to be shortened. You have to change things up sooner in a classroom. You have to give more variety because that's just the way the world is right now. And kids are used to that. And if you don't adapt to that, they can quickly disengage.
And we talk a little bit about how the pandemic has kind of changed the way education has been given and taught, and we look at the challenges and triumphs. Like, what do you think the biggest challenge you've kind of faced as superintendent, and kind of how you overcame that?
Well, I mean, obviously COVID was the biggest. I'd say school finance is tough because it comes to people. Mm-hmm. You want to pay your people fairly, and you want to pay them competitively, and over the years, we could do a whole section on school finance.
So people understand it.
Yeah, Boardman that's absolutely right. It might take 6 or 7 classes, but Boardman was in a situation in which we were termed in the old funding formula cap district, meaning we were supposed to get more from the state formula than they were giving us, but they had other districts that were on the guarantee. They had to guarantee them money, so they had to get that money from somewhere. So they took the money that they owed us and gave it to these quote poorer districts to keep them afloat. Mm-hmm. And they looked at what they called the richer districts, and that's property rich, and said, you figure it out and pass levies. Well, that isn't fair. And so we had to stretch the dollar for so many years here, and our teachers barely took any raises. And we used to have a very competitive salary, and it's kind of it dropped and dropped and dropped, and all of a sudden, it's hard. You want top, like I said, I want top quality people, mm-hmm. But if other districts are paying more, it's hard. Especially 22-year-old Tim Saxton went to a school that paid $9,000 more. Does that mean it was a better school? No, it paid more because I was 22. So the Fair School Funding Formula we have helped advocate for, and it is now kicked in. We're in year 3 of it. It's a 6-year implementation process. That has really helped. The passage of a 2018 new money levy here in Boardman has been tremendous to help keep our programs alive, keep Boardman in with the 3As. A lot of people were frustrated when we had to close Market Street, mm-hmm. but that was a financial move.
Right.
We did that to keep the edge sharp and to make sure we were good stewards of the public tax dollars, and that helped balance our 3 elementaries, and that's helped us stay efficient. And we had a promise in 2018 when we passed a new money levy that we would not go for new money taxes for 10 years. Right. And that's a dangerous thing to say.
Because
no one does that.
Well, especially in this area
Yeah.
where the demographics, you're losing 5%, maybe 10% of population in the Mahoning Valley.
Right.
It's just not Boardman, it's not Canfield, it's not
it's our area.
Night City,
Yeah.
Youngstown, Austintown, or even going into Trumbull County, Howland. It's the whole area. You're losing demographics so that you lose tax revenue. And you're
Yeah.
losing students because sometimes you can't replenish them fast enough.
Yeah, so going back to that, so we're about 7 years in now, and we're looking at financial projections, and we're solid. Like I said, we're going to be able to honor that promise, and I feel like, and then some. So the question, to make sure I answer, was really for a superintendent, you think of it about academics, but we always say it's the golden rule, and everyone's like, the golden rule, yeah, it takes gold to make the schools work, and we are a people business, so when you take a look at our budgets, 80% of that budget is going to go towards our people, because that's you invest
Benefits,
in your people,
salary.
right? Benefits and salary. Now, some people may be frustrated with that, but again, you put a good person. Everyone's been impacted by. Everyone who's watching this, we all can name several teachers that have impacted our life. What price do you put on that? There isn't one, but as long as we've got to keep attracting good people. And to me, the answer to your question finally is that I think we're gonna have some announcements.
Yeah, we got some announcements.
Okay. Yeah, there's probably going to be a Go Spartans at the end there, but that's okay.
They're probably doing that just because we're doing it. They know exactly. So we talk about.
Bus 11.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's been frustrating. As you hear the bus announcent, that's probably a new challenge. Transportation, finding drivers.
Right.
So what you hear there is drivers calling off, shifting routes. So we have to every day, just a daily event, just to get kids home. That's been very frustrating for us.
Yeah.
Bus
We
9.
can just stop right there.
Yeah.
We'll cut
for
it.
Bus 13. Students who ride bus 42, you will look for bus 12. 42 will be 12. Recap quick. 11 will be 42.
That's always so tough.
9 will be 13, and 42 will be 12. So students, that is right. If you ride 11, you are also going to be on 12. So 11 and 42 are both on 12.
We'll cut it.
It sounds like one of those baseball. Who's on first?
Second.
Go Spartans!
He's done.
Don't worry, we won't.
Yeah.
And that's a great point. Transportation.
Yeah.
I mean, because all I see every time is school districts trying to hire bus drivers.
Yeah.
Wherever you see it, news or online.
Right. It's across our nation, and it's you talk about challenges. One we never predicted. So we are excited about the product we offer at Boardman. We want kids in school. We want kids in front of these fantastic teachers in exciting classrooms. This is the first time in my career I have a transportation supervisor come in and says, I don't have a bus to bring these kids to school. I'm like, what? So we have to wait till a bus makes its run and send it on a second run and delay those kids about an hour or so. That was, for me, it was heartbreaking that here we are, great systems, great people, great products, and we can't get the kids to our building. So
Yeah,
that was tough.
Sitting on a bus for an hour. So if school starts at 7:30, they may have to get on the bus by 6:30.
Yeah, So, but the good thing is we've attracted. You see the bus out there by the mall. We've attracted more drivers. We've partnered with a third-party vendor to add additional drivers. So we had to throw some resources towards it, but it was worth it. So,
And because I know that wherever you see, my sister was a bus driver at one time at Howland School Districts, and so I heard the stories that they're looking for people. She'd always ask me, hey, if you know anyone, back about a year or two ago, especially during COVID. Why, I think I always wanted to ask this question, why can't we find drivers?
Well, it's really a part-time job. So your job application pool is limited. It isn't the highest paying job, but a lot of our drivers are retired or working a second job. But the benefits, you get a benefits package, and that is always very beneficial. And I will tell you, being a bus driver is probably harder than ever, because if you've driven the streets anywhere in the United States, people. That just stop signs and red lights are now optional or suggestions, and people are distracted.
Right.
And here you are driving, you have kids on that bus, and it's harder than ever to drive. And like I said, I think all those factors work together, and then the other transportation industries raised their salaries a lot faster than we could and pulled a lot of people out of the talent pool.
And you've been at Boardman as a superintendent for quite a while.
8 years,
And
yeah.
what do you think has kind of been innovation and initiatives that you really liked that were kind of built here in Boardman since your reign over as superintendent?
When I first took over, I felt like Boardman is very proud of their tradition, and like I said, we offer a great product. But I felt like when we first came here, we said, "Here's our product. You got to form fit to it. You fit to our product." And one of the things that I'm very proud of that our staff, support staff, and administration leadership has embraced is that's an old model. How many different color iPhones can you get? Different models of this and that. That's just not the way the world works anymore, and that's not good for kids. Every kid is different, and we found different ways to reach kids. We have different ways to learn. We have a Spartan Online Academy. We've developed programs to help kids get assistance if they get behind, so we don't just say, sorry, we don't have that, you have to go learn elsewhere. And we have other placements we can use if it just isn't working in a traditional brick and mortar, walking the halls 7 hours a day. And our teachers have diversified in the classroom, understand every learner is a little bit different. It's not one size fits all. How can we adapt to make sure you feel like you're part of this school instead of saying, here's what we offer, you fit to us. We're working harder and harder each year to fit to each student.
And we look at some of the things going on in the background. You see all over the news about books and stuff like that. What does that kind of give in general? Like you talk about teachers really teaching diversity and stuff like that. If I correct me if I'm wrong on that. So how does that look in general, just in education?
Well, I think there are certain parts of uniformity and standardization that are good, especially if you have a transient student. If they leave Boardman and they go over to the western part of the state, and they're a completely different curriculum or different pacing guide, they could be way behind. So I think those things are good. But the art of a teacher is a special thing, and so you almost have to build. I always think of build a framework that's standard, but let them work within their framework and how that. So you give them the frame, but let them paint.
Right.
Give them the products, but let them paint, and I think that's key. So I think it's good. For example, I think of our 3 elementaries. One thing I'll give our director of instruction, Mr. Cardillo, a compliment on. He has worked very hard to make sure that the 3 elementaries, although they're 3 different buildings. You're getting the same type of service, you're getting the same type of curriculum, same type of books, same type of experience, and you should be.
Right.
It shouldn't be 3 unique experiences, but still let the teachers teach. So, like I said, it's a combination. There should be standardization to help, but still you got to there's a balance. Too much standardization is a bad thing. Too much independent work, and it's all over the place. So the right balance.
And you talk about kind of building that framework. And what I like to add this because every person has a good kind of inspiring saying about what advice would you give any kind of current or future educators or even administrators who are passionate about making a difference? Because at the end of the day, teachers make a difference. No matter what anyone says, in my opinion, and they could disagree with me, teachers make a difference in kids.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people realize that they shape the way they are. And what to make a difference kind of in that education field, like what advice, because you've been in it for a long time, and some people kind of do it 5 years and leave because of it could be a variety of things.
I'd say what you just said is probably to phrase it is educators, coaches, leaders. I don't think we realize, we'll never realize what an impact we've had. It's really nice when someone comes back. I had a student, a young man that I coached and taught at Canfield who just reconnected with me after some years in the military service, and he just talked about what an impact on his life. And I kind of I didn't know, but here he came. He's been all over the world, and he came back and sought me out and has shared that with me. And I think we forget how much the kids are watching us. how much we need to walk the walk. Sometimes we let our guard down, but they're watching us all the time. So, and just realize that I always felt like my prayer in the morning was, can I make an impact on one person today? And, when I was a teacher, you might have 120. And that might sound like, oh, that's not a very good goal. But if I can make impact on one person, just one, and I taught 178 days, I've impacted 178 people. Then multiply that by, a 36-year career. That's pretty cool, So I think as an educator, it is an awesome profession. If you're in it to make money, it's probably not the right profession. It's a livable salary, good benefits, good retirement, but but there's more to life than just your salary and the things you can buy. It's the things, the people you're going to impact, and the difference, and then that geometric growth. As you impact that person, they're going to go impact somebody else. You can't put a price on that. It's a powerful profession.
Who inspired you? Your dad?
My dad was huge. Yeah, absolutely. My dad's just still alive, and people look on the surface are going to see me as a math teacher, as an administrator, and as a superintendent, and as a superintendent at Boardman. And so he was a head football coach here at Boardman. I wasn't a head football coach, but still a math teacher and a coach. And he wasn't a high school principal. I was a high school principal. It's not a competition, but he did. And my mom, she spent a few years in English. My mom was a very spiritual person, very faith-filled person. I watched her battle cancer, stage 4 twice, and beat it. And it's
a lot.
Yeah, that was impressive. She was a warrior, and I watched my dad take good care of my mom. Towards the end, I lost my mom during COVID. And just watch my dad be just a good man, and be an honorable man and faithful to his wife. So obviously that, as you can tell here, that had some impact on me. Coaches, I had tremendous coaches here at Boardman, Gene Pushik, Roger Patterson, Jack Hay. I still see Jack Hay and Roger Patterson a lot. They're still very active in Boardman. Jim Gutterby as a track coach. Impact. So they had a lot of impact. My college coach, who was the head coach at Grove City, was also defensive back coach, Chris Smith. Just an awesome leader. And then like I mentioned, Jim Hadakovic. Just there's been some good people. I guess I take a little bit of each person. And from a distance, you can't have worked here in Youngstown, been a football coach, or in Ohio and not be impacted, honestly, by Jim Tressel.
Yeah.
You watch him as a leader. He has done it right, and what he's done with YSU, what he's done at Ohio State, what he's done. I got a chance to be a young camp counselor coach when I just got out of college, and I was going to coach at Bedford at YSU when he was a young coach there, and got to see the behind the scenes and work with him, and just very, very impressive.
Very intense.
Yeah, but very impressive. Like I said, you always see walk the walk. I like the new one, since we're doing a little video audio stuff. Your video and audio have to match, because we've all watched a show which the audio is off track, and it just isn't right. That's the person who says one thing but does another. It's just not right. But I always felt like he was that type of person. My dad was that type of person. Right. And like I said, I've always looked up to those kind of people.
So I have to ask this question, because I know I talked to a lot of different superintendents over the years and principals, and we talk about reflection on leadership. Has describe your leadership style changed over the years? Because usually you talk about how you've inspired teachers, or you inspired students.
Right.
And you kind of get that inspiration from your family, from friends. Has that changed over the years?
I felt like we have to forgive more, judge less.
Right.
Everybody's dealing with something, and you really, truly have to walk a mile in someone's shoes. Empathy is very powerful. And I became principal here at Boardman High School, I believe it was like 36, 37 years old. And I may not quite have understood why parents made decisions the way they did, because I was a very young parent. My kids were little, but once my girls had gone through high school, I was a much better administrator. So you asked a question. So I think life experiences as a parent have shaped me. But some people around here say, we never see you get mad. Well, I don't think you have to. I mean, I hope they see me be intense and passionate, but you don't have to get mad. to get things done. Like I said, if anything, I'm guilty of maybe being a little too forgiving and seeing. I've always wanted to be accused of being guilty of seeing the good in someone, but I said before, not giving up on someone. I will not give up on someone.
Even if you're a pest, you still want
them to be.
Want them to be good.
I got a weird sense of, strong sense of loyalty. I don't know where I got that from. I just won't give up. I won't give up. I won't give up. And sometimes people say, "Tim, let go." And that's probably waited a little bit longer. But I'm okay with being guilty with that because that allows you to sleep at night. And I think that's something I've learned over time. Everyone wants to be the boss because they're like, oh, it's really cool to fire and hire people. No, it is hard. It is hard. Hiring people because you want to find the right ones.
Right.
Letting people go because you're impacting their life.
Right.
Their lives. You like if you have to let somebody go, also they may not have a salary and benefits, and who knows if they have children. And so
it's a domino effect.
Yeah. So it's not that easy if you care about people.
Well, and we look at it as you leave here in the next month, and you have commencement just down the road here next week after, give or take.
Yeah.
You look at kind of what's that message going to be like when you talk to your final graduation class.
Yeah, just thinking about that, I get emotional. So I'm struggling with that a little bit. But in my mind, I think this will be. I did 12. So this will be my 20th commencement talk. That's a lot because we don't have featured speakers.
20 different speeches.
Yeah, and so, but I understand there's nobody coming to commencement to hear the superintendent speak. It's part of the ceremony. They're there to see their kids. But I do have 330 18, 19, 17-year-olds attention for about 5 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes, not more. And I do believe, I have it, what I want to share with them. So I've just thought back of all the things I've tried to share because I didn't just come to speak. I wanted to share something with them that I would hope, because I got to be honest, I don't remember my commencement speaker, and that's terrible.
I
just
either.
don't.
I don't remember it either. I mean,
yeah.
We were probably so hyped to be graduating.
Yeah, that you're not paying right, and I get it. So I get 3 out of 330, maybe 30 are listening.
Right.
But like I said, just I've thought about some different things, and I've gotten feedback from different things I've shared. So I'm picking one, and just I'm focusing on that one, and just something that I've realized over time that I hope they listen. I hope their hearts are open to, and it's just a little bit about goes back to my coaching days. I heard someone yell one time as a young coach, "Run your race," and I thought that was the weirdest coaching. I mean, I actually laughed. We run your race. What is that? Run your race? That doesn't mean anything. Well, 36 years later, not too many people are running their races. They're watching other people, and I want to share that message. It's commencement. We've prepared you. This isn't the race. This is the warm up. The race begins. Go run your race.
It's not a race, it's a marathon.
Yeah, go run it.
Yep.
Yeah, at your pace.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at it as two different things. You got, hey, you're leaving Boardman, going to any college or technical school, or
or military, or directly into the workforce.
So it's going to be a different experience.
Or your gap year.
You have what, 330,
I believe is the
number. So you're
number.
graduating 330 kids. That's big for this area.
Yeah, that's we dipped a little bit below 300. As a principal, I think we were as high as in the 400s a couple years.
Yeah, and I think at Howland 20 years ago, I was at 3. You're at 3. Close to 3 over 3.
Yeah.
You look at that as now you're going to be retiring. You'll give your commencement speech. What are your plans for the future? You got any projects?
Yeah.
What are you looking to pursue? Because you've been in education for so long. What's that look like?
I don't really know, and that's kind of strange because I usually, I'm a researcher and a planner, so I usually have things planned out. It's not like I just throw all aside, so I'm just going to go into retirement without a plan. Obviously, there's a financial plan.
Not you.
Yeah, that's right.
Not you.
There's a financial plan in place so we can still keep the lights on in the Saxton household. But I mean, I've been in education for 36 years. You see a lot of things, and if you're doing things long enough, you do get wisdom. And I feel like I have a lot of good educational wisdom. In fact, the last couple of years, people, young administrators come in and have this situation. I'm like, oh yeah, just do this and this. So how'd you know that? I'm like, not because I'm smart, because I've been through it before.
You've experienced
I know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Don't step on that landmine. Go this route. I don't want to just leave the educational world and take all that with me. I feel selfish doing that. So just trying to find some jobs in which a career path that I can help other people. Just make sure, hey, I can somehow mentor whatever and share that. So I don't know what that's going to look like. Being a superintendent eats up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
You can be out every single night at an event and every weekend night at an event. You can be, but you have to have that, what they call it, a life-work balance, or else you'll burn yourself out. I enjoy going to events, our music, our arts, our athletics, our academic clubs, but I'm still human. I need to have my energy to come in and serve the staff and serve our leadership team. So life after superintendency, to me, it's a trade-off. I'm buying some of my time back. I haven't really picked up a golf club with fidelity in 8 years, like to fish. I love to hike. I love the outdoors. And really, all those things have been put on hold for 8 years.
So the new superintendent doesn't want to bring you back as a teacher?
My wife says, you loved coaching football. Why don't you coach football? And I'm like, you know what? I do love coaching football, but one thing I've enjoyed is having some Saturday afternoons free. I'm a big Buckeye fan. My wife says, I don't watch any NFL. I just want to watch the Buckeyes. That's all I want to do. So she knows
Give me 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
You got the rest.
That's it. And she's like, deal. And if I coach football, I won't be able to do that.
She's probably ready to have you back.
Yeah. The person in the Saxton household with the biggest smile about my retirement is my wife. Because people don't realize how hard it is on the head coach's wife and a superintendent's wife. I don't read social media.
Right.
I just don't. And I tell her to stay off of it, but still, everyone has that human curiosity.
Right.
I got 3 daughters, and it's hard. You can have 40 really nice comments, and there's that one, and it's just human nature. You look at that one, why did they say that?
Yeah, but they don't read, they don't know the information. It's
right,
and
it hurts. It does.
I agree. You see it through just all the news coverage, no matter what social media platform you look at, and you kind of look at your overall career. You look at what is the biggest highlight that you think in your career was, or like the biggest accomplishment? What is that?
I'd go back to, like I said, I would hope that people would say that there was a spirit of passion here, of pride, but I would hope that, one of the things, go back to what I said, big picture, I would hope that we've implemented a place where all kids feel welcomed, no matter which street you live on, no matter what your background, no matter what your faith, religion, skin color. I would hope they feel like they're being a Spartan. Same with our staff. We have a lot of staff that are Boardman graduates. We have some staff that are not, but they're still. I would hope people would feel that way. Other things, like I said, I'm glad we're leaving the district on a very financially stable. If you ask my family, they'll say, Dad, we know your number one love is the stadium. And that was a labor of love to be part of the leadership, one of the co-chairs at bringing that stadium home here to Boardman High School. That was absolutely fun, and what a joy.
One of your babies.
Yeah,
One of your projects. You had so much intent. You're like, that is one of my things that I really want to do, and bring it home.
So just to show you, we were on vacation in July. Is when the stadium was being built, and we were gone for 2 weeks, and we came back, and all my girls, as soon as they got back and unpacked, they went to go see their boyfriends. My wife went to go see her mom and dad, and I went to see how the stadium was doing. And we all said we all went to see our second loves, And so,
I get it.
I'm like, hey, the video board just came out. I have to see what the video board looks like. I would say I don't like to use the word pride because there's a lot to that word, but when I look at that feels good. It's something that the community, not because it's sports, it's just here in the Valley, Friday nights you got the band, you got our BSTN, you got our tech people, you got our student body, you got our families, you got fair fries, you got football. It's just it brings everyone together, and so. The facility we have served its time, but now this facility, it brings joy. And like I said, people don't know anything about Boardman. May come here for an away game. They may judge your whole district on what your stadium looks like. It's just the way it is.
Right.
We call it the front porch. People won't step inside your house. when they used to come knock on your door. But if they step on your front porch and your front porch is nice, they're going to assume the rest of your house is nice. Or if it's not so nice, then they wonder. So even though it's not true, but that's just impressions. And sometimes, as we say, the impressions can be reality for people.
Yeah. And so, and the last question I have is, number one, congratulations on retirement. We wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah.
And the last question I have for you is, I ask a lot of my interviewees is, you've had this long career, as we've mentioned several times. If there was one person you would want to meet, past or present, who would it be and why?
Oh boy, one person.
Well, there could be a couple, but you get the gist of it.
If people knew me, I guess I'm a very faith-based person, so I would have to say Christ. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be pretty cool. So definitely.
And what would be your first question?
Oh man, first question. It wouldn't be a question. I'd say thank you. I don't think it would be a question. I'd just say thank you. So.
Mine would probably be like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Give me the right, because everywhere I go.
I'd just say thank you for what you did, and just, then I'd say, okay.
Yeah. What do you want me to do?
I need some help here. Thank you for not wiping me off the face of the earth for this mistake and this mistake and this mistake and this mistake. Thank you for patience and peace and joy and forgiveness and salvation. So, absolutely.
Well, Tim, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you for joining us. Tim Saxton, 36 years at Boardman Local Schools, superintendent, and a distinguished career as an educator from around Ohio. We wish him nothing but the best. Thank you for joining us. For more stories and inspiring the uninspired, please go to SpanTheNeed.com. Everyone have a great night.